guys, welcome back to the channel. Today I have the Mark 6R. I've actually had this car for the week. I've done about 450 miles in this car, and I wanted to dedicate a video to basically explaining why I personally think this car is one of the most underrated hot hatches you can buy today. The second-hand market isn't actually riddled with these things. They are few and far between to find a really good one. This one is running bigger power. It's 414 brake horsepower with a low brush turbocharger, and it's got the manual box, which is the one that I would go with. But explaining why I think a Golf is the most underrated hot hatches you can buy these days is going to be one hard challenge, because Golfs do fit in. This one is grey with black wheels. It fits in everywhere. But I do feel, after driving this thing for 450 miles for a week, I do feel that this is one of the most underrated cars you can buy today. I mean, look how picturesque all of this is. It looks so beautiful. I actually got up at 6 o'clock this morning because I wanted to drive this and make this video. That's how strongly I feel about this car at the moment. But as ever, we're going to get on some awesome B roads. We're going to enjoy this thing, and I'm going to try and explain to you why I think this is slightly rare and underrated in a way. But to the B road. That way. Let's go that way. Now, the most underrated hot hatch. It's a big statement, really is. I've driven a fair few hot hatches in my time. I've enjoyed them. I've wanted them really, really badly. This one, no exception. Absolutely love it. Love every single bit about it. But I'm going to break down exactly why I think these are very underrated. Now, saying they're underrated is a funny thing, because anybody that's had one of these knows how good they are. Anybody that's maybe searched for one or test driven one will know full well how good they are. But anybody that's jumped straight to maybe a Mark 7R, jumped into any other hot hatch, won't really get what I'm saying in this video. The Mark 6, I personally think, never really took off. The R was nowhere to be seen. The Mark 5s, being a 3.2 litre, naturally aspirated, pulled in a hefty tax bill. That meant that you had to really like the R32 to buy one. Capped at 250 brake horsepower-ish. They were good, very good cars, and I have one coming to the channel very soon, and I'm excited to drive it, because at the time when I had my Mark 5, I wanted one so bad. This though, the first time they ever put a 2 litre turbocharged engine in their 4-wheel drive Rs, I don't think it did as well as they wanted it to. And from where I'm sitting today, I don't quite know why, and please have a discussion in the comments section as to why you think this is relatively underrated and you didn't see as many as you should have maybe on the roads. The Mark 7 came with fantastic lease deals, and that's why you see so many of them. You see so many Rs because they're incredibly cheap to buy and to run these days. This one though, let's get on to the topic. 414 brake horsepower. It has a bigger turbocharger. It has a manual box. Manual box. I've driven DSG stuff quite a lot at the moment. It is driving pleasure to get in this 6-speed manual with this much power and 4-wheel drive. Oh. Exhaust system, singing the symphony of B roads at 7 o'clock in the morning today on a Sunday. Doesn't get any better than this. The 4-wheel drive is working with me on freshly paved roads, and I have the biggest smile on my face ever. I've done 450 miles on this car, and I've had it for the week, and I've thoroughly enjoyed every trip I've done in it. The motorway journeys, although the Miltecs are relatively drony at 70 miles an hour, don't get me wrong, it has made up for it by sounding, oh, the steering, just the feel of this car. Feeling and sounding just phenomenal. Phenomenal sound coming out the back of this. It burbles down gears, it pops and bangs. And that turbocharger around 3,500 RPM comes in and blitzes, just tears up the tarmac. It is driving pleasure, this car. If you've driven a newer age DSG hot hatch and you think, oh, they're relatively boring, I completely agree with you. I understand where you're coming from. But do not count out the Mark 6R, because especially at this power, I think this is a really, really good power for you to still be able to chuck it. It's not a lot of slip in the chassis, you know, at this power. There isn't crazy amounts to send you off in one direction or send you off in another when you come out of a corner. I think it's proportional to how good the car is, this power. Now, sourced from RPM Performance for this week, absolute bunch of legends there. They said just go and enjoy this thing and give us your feedback. Tell us what you think of it. And I've driven a lot of hot hatches, new, old. This car is so underrated and no one buys one, and I don't get it, because this manual box is fantastic. The power over 400 brake horsepower is exactly where I'd have one. I think a bigger turbo is definitely the way to go. The manual box, phenomenal. Clutch, nice and supple still. It's comfortable in here, and no one's got one. No one's got one. Everyone's got the Mark 7. And I just think it's like a rarity to see something like this on the roads today, especially one like this. It's beautiful. It's beautiful. It looks so good from the outside. And it just goes and goes and goes and makes all the choo-choo noises and the sounds you want it to. I love this thing. I love it. I think it's phenomenal. So guys, let's have a quick look round the Mark 6R. Now, starting off, this is a 2011 Stage 3 414 brake horsepower Mark 6 Golf R. It's running the basically full Stage 3 modifications with a Lowbra turbocharger. Now, sorry about how dirty this is under here. I have been thoroughly enjoying myself, but I'm going to start here in the engine bay, because although it's not a lot to look at, this has actually got the Unicorn Stage 3 remap with switchable maps, so it can run 414 brake horsepower or 369 brake horsepower on map 2, depending on how you're feeling. And it has the Lowbra LO4XX turbocharger on it just behind the front bumper. It has the AirTech Stage 2 intercooler, and going down, I'll take you around the back, because coming right down, it has the full 3-inch Miltech exhaust system, which, as you can hear from the video, pops and bangs a lot. And as you can see by how dirty the car is, I've been thoroughly enjoying myself in this thing. So this space sort of grey metallic paint job, I really like. It blends in, but then you notice sort of the R badging, and obviously you can get R-line stuff, but you really notice that this is a proper R when you see all of the black accents and the black headlights just up front. I think it's got quite a mean look to the front, especially with these daylight running lights just here. I like the look of the front, and you can't mistake this for anything but a Mark 6R. Coming down, you have the Mark 6R wheels that have been painted black. Quite big calipers on the front of these as well with these Rs. It's also been lowered on H&R lowering springs, but this is, I think, the controversial part, is this angle. If you didn't look at the wheels, you wouldn't know it was an R unless you sort of looked at the spoiler, and that's sort of what blends it in quite a lot. Is if you drove past and you saw that, you wouldn't necessarily know that this was anything special. Coming around to the back, I love these rear lights. Obviously when they're all lit up, you've got LEDs just coming up here. Love the back of a Mark 6R. Also coming down to the twin exit in the centre, like the R32 Mark 5s, same sort of design with a gloss black diffuser just at the bottom there. Miltech exhausts poking straight out. FYD repping deep here. Obviously I've had this car for a week, so I had to put the FYD oil slick in there, just glistening in the sun there. Look at that. These are also available FYDapparel.com, as well as the air fresheners. I'll take you guys inside, because 450 miles later, I've really become accustomed to this interior. I used to have, if you guys didn't know, a Mark 5 1.6, and I absolutely loved, one, the steering wheel from the R's. So I always wanted to put the Mark 6R steering wheel in my Mark 5 when these came out. And the seats are just so comfortable, very, very supportive. Really well thought out interior, I think. Got a nice bit of space. It doesn't really feel like a compact hot hatch whatsoever. You've got a nice armrest as well that comes in and out depending how far back your seat is. The one thing I will say though, just like the side of the car, that I'm a bit biased about and I'm not really too sure about, is the dash. I don't really like the dashes in these. That's just one of those things I'm going to point out, and I'm never too negative in any of these videos, but I do not really like the center dash bit. It just doesn't have the styling cues that I would prefer if I was to buy a Golf, but it makes up for it with the dials and sort of the center screen, but them top air vents here, I'm just not a big fan of. And coming into the back, as you can see, water on the floor there, it's mine. Been using this thing, full leather interior, absolutely mint condition leathers in there. So all in all, although incredibly unassuming, underrated, I think this car is phenomenal, and the 450-ish miles I've done in this thing, I've absolutely loved everything. Again, coming back to the whole manual thing, right? Four-wheel drive manual drive works really well with the manual box, but if I was commuting, or if I did my job where I have to drive a lot, I would opt for the DSG. That's just the way it would be. But if I was down my local roads, which we are right now, at 7 o'clock in the morning on a Sunday, it does not get any better than that. That is just, the throw is perfect. I'm comfortable in here. I can chuck this car around like it's nothing. It grips and grips and grips all day long. And it's underrated. It's a bloody good laugh. Bloody good laugh. I don't get it. I'm looking around here trying to pick something. I'm trying to pick at this car while I've had it for a week. I'm trying to pick little bits out. So like the dash, this part does my head in a little bit. The side view isn't really exciting whatsoever. The front's cool, the back's cool, the side isn't. I don't know, I don't get it. Why did no one buy these? Especially this one, it's just so good. So guys, concluding my just time in this car, unfortunately I have to give this thing back tomorrow, so I really wanted to get a good on B-Road blast out of my system in this thing as a final hurrah for this car after a week's worth of just shooting other cars and traveling and stuff for the money. Big power, manual, 4 doors, what more could you want from this car? Anyway guys, thank you so much for watching. I've got to give this back tomorrow, it's such a shame, but again, massive thank you to RPM Performance for letting me have this thing for a week. I've loved every single second of it. Hit them up if you're interested in this car whatsoever. Anyway guys, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.